in the heart of the African savanna, nestled between golden fields of tall grasses and the whispering winds of the baobab trees, lay the small village of Nyala. It was a place where every face was familiar, every path well-trodden, and every tradition carried stories older than the oldest tree in the village. Among the villagers lived a young girl named Amina. Her parents had passed away when she was barely 5 years old, leaving her in the care of her grandmother, who, though loving, could only provide for her basic needs. The warmth of her family was replaced by routines and chores, and Amina often felt the quiet ache of guidance she had never received. Every morning she rose with the sun, helping her grandmother fetch water from the river, gathering firewood, and tending to the small patch of vegetables near their hut. She watched other children her age laughing and learning under their parents' watchful eyes, feeling a gnawing emptiness inside. No amount of storytelling from her grandmother seemed enough to fill the void of understanding life's mysteries. Why am I different? She often wondered, gazing at the horizon where the sun kissed the earth in golden hues. One afternoon, while wandering along the dusty path that led out of the village, Amina noticed a man sitting under the largest baobab tree. His clothes were ragged, and his sandals were worn to threads. Yet there was something unusual about the way he sat, the way his eyes followed the movements of birds. Villagers often ignored him, calling him a simple beggar. But Amina, driven by curiosity, approached slowly. "Hello, sir," she said softly. The old man looked up and smiled, revealing teeth weathered like river stones. "Greetings, child. Why do you wander alone?" he asked, his voice a gentle rasp, like wind through dry leaves. I don't know," Amina admitted. "I have my grandmother, but I feel like there's something I am missing. Something important about life." The old man nodded knowingly. "Sometimes the lessons we seek are not taught by family, nor found in books. They are discovered by observing, by living, and by listening." Amina tilted her head, intrigued. She had heard tales of wise elders in the village, but this man carried no title, no wealth, no grandeur, yet there was a strange dignity in him. She sat beside him, feeling the sun's warmth on her skin, and for the first time in years she felt a spark of hope, as if an invisible door had quietly creaked open. "Life," the man continued, "is like this tree, strong yet flexible, patient yet ever-changing. Many are born into families that teach them what is seen and spoken, but some must learn what cannot be told. You, child, are one of those who will learn in ways others never will." Amina's eyes widened. "Learn in ways others never will. How?" The old man only smiled and reached out to pluck a leaf from the tree. "Come tomorrow, and I will show you." As she walked back to her hut, Amina felt a flutter in her chest, a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She did not know who this man truly was, nor why he had chosen to speak to her, but she sensed that her life was about to change. For the first time, she felt that the emptiness she carried might someday be filled, not by the lessons of those who had gone before her, but by a wisdom discovered in the world itself. And so, under the golden light of the setting sun, Amina silently vowed to return. She did not yet know the path, but she was ready to begin her journey. The next morning, Amina returned to the baobab tree, her heart fluttering like a bird trapped in a cage. The old beggar was already there, humming a soft tune that seemed to belong to the wind itself. He waved her closer, and she sat down, unsure of what to expect. "You came," he said, with a nod. "Good. The first lesson begins with what you carry inside, not what you see outside." Amina frowned. "What I carry inside." The beggar rose slowly and walked to the edge of the river that ran alongside the village. The water shimmered under the rising sun, clear and sparkling. He gestured to it. "Do you see this water?" "Yes," Amina said. "It's clean and bright." He smiled. "You take it for granted." "Yes. Every morning you drink it, every day you wash in it, and yet, how often do you pause to honor it, to think of the journey it has made from the rains of distant mountains, through streams and stones, to your village?" Amina thought for a moment. She had never considered the water beyond its usefulness. "I never really thought of it that way," she admitted. The beggar chuckled, a sound like rustling leaves. "That is the beginning. Humility is knowing that you are part of something greater than yourself, and gratitude is recognizing it." He reached into a small sack and pulled out a loaf of bread, offering it to her. "Eat this slowly. Taste it. Think of the grain that grew in the soil, the farmer who harvested it, the sun and the rain that made it possible. Every morsel carries a story, and every story deserves respect." Amina took the bread with trembling hands and bit into it. She closed her eyes as the flavors and textures unfolded slowly, revealing a world she had never noticed. She thought of the earth, the people, the countless small miracles that made this simple meal possible. And in that moment, she understood. Gratitude was not a word to speak, it was a feeling to experience, fully, with all her senses. The beggar watched her with a gentle smile. "Now, humility. Go to the village market and offer help to someone who cannot repay you. Carry their bundle, fetch their water, speak no word of your effort. Only by giving without expectation do you understand the strength of humility." Amina nodded, nervous but determined. She ran to the market, her small frame moving quickly between the stalls. She helped an elderly woman carry heavy baskets, fetched water for a sick child, and tied the goats of a distracted farmer. Each act was small, yet each act filled her with a warmth she had never known. By the time she returned to the baobab tree, the sun had reached its zenith, painting the world in golden light. The old man was waiting. "Do you understand now?" he asked. "Yes," Amina said softly. "Humility is about serving without expecting, and gratitude is about seeing the life behind everything we have." "Exactly," he nodded. "Remember, child, these lessons are not learned in hours, but in a lifetime of observing and participating. But the first seed has been planted. Nurture it, and it will grow stronger than any tree in the savannah." Amina felt a shift within her. She no longer felt the emptiness she had carried for so long. She felt connected to her village, to the land, to the river, and to herself. And she realized that the beggar's teachings were not just about wisdom. They were about awakening a part of her soul that had been dormant, waiting for guidance that her parents could not provide. As she left the tree that day, the wind whispered through the branches, carrying with it a promise. The journey had only begun. But already, Amina felt the stirrings of a life filled with meaning, respect, and a newfound reverence for every gift, no matter how small. Days passed, and Amina's life began to change in ways she had never imagined. She returned daily to the baobab tree, learning small but profound lessons from the old beggar. Each day brought a new understanding. Yet the beggar often reminded her that true wisdom was tested, not just learned. One morning, he greeted her with a serious expression. "Today, child, you will face a trial. The lesson of courage and compassion cannot be taught with words alone. It must be lived." Amina's stomach twisted with nervous anticipation. A trial. What kind of trial? The old man pointed toward the edge of the forest that bordered the village. "Walk into the woods. There, you will find a situation that asks more than your strength. It asks your heart." Amina hesitated, but then nodded, trusting the wisdom she had already begun to absorb. She entered the forest, the sunlight filtering through a canopy of green leaves, casting dancing shadows on the path. Birds chirped above, but there was an unusual stillness in the deeper parts of the woods, as if nature itself was holding its breath. After some time, she heard a faint cry. Following the sound, she discovered a young antelope trapped between thorny bushes. Its legs were tangled, and it trembled with fear. Nearby, she noticed a small snake slithering toward it, drawn by the scent of vulnerability. Amina's heart pounded. She had never been alone with danger like this before. The beggar's words echoed. In her mind, courage and compassion are tested in moments like this. Amina took a deep breath. Slowly, she approached the antelope, speaking softly to calm it. Using her small hands carefully, she freed its legs from the thorns, while keeping an eye on the snake. The snake hissed but did not attack. It seemed to sense her calm presence. Once the antelope was free, it stared at her with wide, grateful eyes before bounding away into the safety of the forest. Amina felt a thrill of relief, but also a deep satisfaction. She had faced fear and acted not for reward or recognition, but out of compassion. Returning to the baobab tree, she found the old man waiting. His eyes twinkled. "You see, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act rightly despite fear. And compassion is not pity, but empathy in action." Amina reflected on the trial. She realized how often people, including herself, avoided difficult situations for fear of failure or discomfort. Yet true growth came when one faced challenges with a steady heart and an open mind. "I understand," she said softly. "It is not enough to feel kindness or bravery. One must live it." The beggar nodded approvingly. "Exactly. And remember, courage and compassion are linked. One without the other can become recklessness or weakness. Together, they form the strength of a wise soul." As Amina walked back to her village, she noticed things she had never paid attention to before: the gentle sway of the grasses, the songs of the birds, the rustle of small creatures in the underbrush. Everything seemed alive with purpose, and she felt a deep connection to the world around her. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in shades of amber and crimson, Amina sat outside her hut. She thought of the antelope, the snake, the forest, and the beggar's teachings. A warmth filled her chest, a quiet confidence that she had never felt before. She realized that life would always present trials, but with courage and compassion, she could face them with grace. For the first time, Amina understood that wisdom was not a distant treasure to be found. It was a living flame within her, waiting to be kindled through action, understanding, and the lessons of the world. After the trial in the forest, Amina felt herself changing. The courage and compassion she had discovered in action left her with a quiet confidence. Yet the beggar knew that true understanding required more than bravery. Some lessons, he explained, could only be learned through patience and reflection. One morning, he beckoned her to follow him to the river, where the water flowed slowly over smooth stones, carrying reflections of the sky above. The old man handed her a small clay pot. "Fill this pot with water from the river," he instructed. Amina knelt at the edge and began scooping water into the pot. But no matter how carefully she poured or balanced it, the water spilled. She tried again, her hands trembling with frustration, yet the pot remained only half full. The beggar watched silently. After a while, he spoke softly. "Rushing will not help, child. Life cannot be forced. It requires wisdom and patience, not only action. Watch the river. See how it moves, how it flows around obstacles, yet always continues its path. Learn from it." Amina studied the water. The river did not panic or strain. It simply adjusted to stones and curves. Slowly, she realized that she had been trying to control the pot with impatience rather than understanding its limits. She took a deep breath, steadied her hands, and let her movements follow the rhythm of the flowing river. Slowly, carefully, the pot filled, not perfectly, but enough. The beggar nodded, pleased. Patience allows understanding to grow. Wisdom comes when you recognize that some things cannot be hurried, and some answers are found not in force, but in observation and timing. Over the following days, he introduced more exercises, collecting grains of millet without spilling a single one, observing birds as they built nests, and planting seeds to see how they sprouted under the sun and rain. Each task required careful attention and an acceptance that results might not be immediate. Amina learned to watch and wait, to notice small details, and to respect the slow unfolding of life. One afternoon, as they sat beneath the baobab tree, the beggar asked her a question. "Why do you think the millet falls when you rush?" Amina considered. "Because I want it too quickly. I don't respect the process, and I try to force it." "Exactly," he said, smiling. "Many seek wisdom as if it is a thing to be grasped, but wisdom grows in time, with patience, like the seeds you planted. And remember, patience is not weakness. It is strength under quiet control." That evening, Amina returned to her hut, carrying the lessons in her heart. She reflected on her life, the days of rushing through chores, the frustration of not understanding her parents' absence, the longing for guidance. She realized that impatience had been a barrier to learning, and she vowed to carry the river's rhythm within her from that day on. Amina began noticing subtle details, the patterns of the clouds, the way ants cooperated to carry leaves, the quiet gestures of villagers helping each other. She understood that wisdom was not a destination, but a journey, one that required careful observation, reflection, and patience. For the first time, she saw her life not as an emptiness to be filled, but as a river flowing steadily, carrying experiences, challenges, and joys alike. And she understood that in learning patience and wisdom, she was discovering a strength that her parents could never have directly given her, strength that would guide her through all the trials yet to come. The old beggar's eyes twinkled as he watched her. "The journey is still long, Amina, but you are beginning to understand. Courage, compassion, humility, gratitude, patience, and wisdom, they are the threads of a life well lived. Hold them close, and you will grow into someone truly remarkable." Amina nodded, her heart full. The sun dipped low behind the horizon, casting a golden glow across the savannah. She knew that her transformation was far from complete. Yet, for the first time, she felt the calm certainty of someone who had begun to truly see and understand the world. The days turned into weeks, and Amina's journey under the guidance of the old beggar had transformed her. She was no longer the uncertain, quiet girl who wandered the village with questions she could not answer. She had learned humility, gratitude, courage, compassion, patience, and wisdom. Each lesson had been a stepping stone, shaping her understanding of life in ways her parents never could have taught. As the sun painted the sky with shades of gold and crimson, the old beggar led Amina to the edge of the savannah. The wind carried the scent of wildflowers and the songs of distant birds. He turned to her and said, "Child, the final lesson is not in what I give you, but in what you carry forward. Life will present many who are lost, confused, or in need of guidance. Your gift is understanding. Use it to light their path." Amina listened, feeling the weight and beauty of his words. She realized that true learning was not selfish. It was meant to be shared. She looked around at the village, at the children laughing, the elders tending fires, the animals grazing peacefully. She could see the connections, now the invisible threads linking every life, every action, every choice. Her first chance came sooner than expected. A young boy in the village had gotten lost while chasing a goat near the forest. Panic-stricken, he ran blindly, calling for help. Amina, recalling her lessons of courage and calm observation, ran to him, speaking softly to calm his fears. She led him safely back to the village, teaching him along the way about careful steps, listening to the world, and observing before acting. The villagers watched in awe as the once timid girl displayed courage and leadership far beyond her years. Over time, Amina became a quiet source of wisdom in Niala. She helped mediate disputes among children, assisted elders with careful insight, and guided travelers who lost their way. She shared the lessons of the old beggar without ever claiming credit, understanding that true guidance comes from humility. People began to seek her out, not because she demanded it, but because her presence carried calmness, clarity, and understanding. One day, she returned to the baobab tree, the place where her journey had begun. The old beggar sat in the shade, smiling knowingly. "You have learned well, Amina. Do you feel complete?" Amina shook her head gently. "No, not complete, but I feel ready. I feel that whatever comes, I can face it with what I have learned, and I can help others do the same." The old man nodded. "That is the greatest lesson of all. Knowledge is temporary, but understanding is eternal, and those who share it without expectation carry the truest gift of all." As the sun set, Amina looked toward the horizon. She saw the golden fields, the village, and the winding river, each one a testament to life's enduring lessons. The emptiness she once felt was replaced by a quiet, purposer recognition that while her parents could not guide her fully, the world itself had provided a teacher, and she had grown wise enough to carry that teaching forward. Amina's journey had begun with a simple question: why am I different? Now she understood that her difference was a gift, a chance to see the world in ways others might not, to learn deeply, and to share freely. The beggar, her unlikely mentor, had given her more than wisdom. He had given her the power to transform her life and the lives of those around her, and under the shade of the baobab tree. As the first stars of night appeared, Amina smiled. She was no longer the girl who wandered aimlessly. She was a young woman who had learned the secrets of life, and she would carry them always, like seeds ready to bloom wherever they were planted.